Okay, we're going to do the first activity now, and we're going to think about what do foster carers do. So in a minute I'm going to ask you to put me on pause, and then I want you to try and list as many things as you possibly can that you think foster carers do. Okay, so pause me now. Okay, so what I've done is I've written down some of the answers that we usually get, some of the most common answers. So the first one, care. Might seem really obvious, but we need you to care for these children, provide for their basic needs, and just do what parents do in keeping children cared for, if you like. To feed children, and quite often on training, foster applicants will say to provide a healthy, balanced diet. And I will say, yes, that's really important, but I do like to just highlight at this stage that sometimes foster carers can get a bit anxious, because when you're a foster carer, you're providing care for a child that's not your own. The child, you are responsible to the local authority, to the child's family, and foster carers can think, oh, well, I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do the other. And one of the examples is, I've been in a foster carer's house before, and a child's walked in and said, can I have some sweets? And the foster carers looked at me, the social worker in the home, and gone, oh, no, you can't have any sweets. You can have some fruit. We still expect children to be able to have treats. They can still go to McDonald's. We don't expect them to just be living on fruit and vegetables. So when you're thinking, oh, can we do that because they're fostered? Can we do that because they're fostered? It's normal for children to have treats. So yes, they need a healthy, balanced diet, but they also are allowed to have those treats as well. Play. So quite often people will put on their lists play. Play is so important. Play has lots of different developmental stages that children go through, but it's important for you to play with children as well. By playing with children and enjoying that, we give children the message that I'm enjoying you, so you must be enjoyable. You must be a decent person. You must be a good person because I'm enjoying playing with you. To educate. So foster carers have a really important role in educating children, in facilitating their learning, in supporting their learning. So you might have children in school, you might have children in alternative learning provisions, you might have children who are preschool age, but children are sponges and children need to learn. And for a lot of our children, they struggle to learn because they're very preoccupied with staying safe. So your role in educating is crucial, in being involved in school and things like that. Role model. You'll hear me banging on about role modelling a lot. Children will watch and take in everything that you do. It's so important that you are a positive role model. A lot of our children will not have had positive role models in their lives. So part of your job in challenging that is to lead by example. It's not a case of do as I say, not as I do. It's do as I do. So they're going to see that in you. To provide activities. So children need stuff to keep them occupied. And a lot of our children have no idea what they're interested in. So a lot of our children can't say to you, oh, I like doing this and I like doing that. They don't have that sense of identity and that sense of self. So for you guys, a lot of your job is about picking up on what children are interested in. Oh, I've noticed they showed an interest in that. So I might try and develop that a bit more. You've noticed that every time a child sees a stone or a ball on the floor, they're kicking it. But last time you said, do you like football? They were like, no. So to say to them, you do like it, might be overpowering. What you might need to do is just discreetly buy a ball, leave it in the garden, and build up from there. So we're not going to overpower children, but we're going to observe their interests and nurture those interests. Giving affection. Children need affection, children need nurture, children need to be touched. Touch is so important in releasing positive chemicals into the brain. However, a lot of our children cannot cope with touch or affection. So when we get on to the second session, the safe care session, we'll talk a lot more about touch and affection, but it's really important that you understand what's safe and comfortable for your child in your care. Giving a child a home, yes, absolutely. We want our looked after children to be provided a family environment and a family home. It's really, really important. Some of our children live in residential care in children's homes in Hull. We would rather children are in foster care because it gives them a family home. And to create safety. So by safety we don't just mean making children safe, we mean children need to feel safe as well. So then we also have attending meetings. As a foster carer, you will have to attend lots and lots and lots of meetings, and you will be expected to contribute to those meetings. You are a vital part as a foster carer of a team around a child, so your contribution to meetings is really, really important. If you're quite a shy person who doesn't like speaking up and things like that, it's something that if you need support with, you will have to ask for support, because we do expect that you attend and contribute to meetings. Keeping paperwork. Paperwork's really important, and you as a foster carer you will be expected to keep daily records on children. Records will be collected and kept for those children. And one thing just to mention, you will do in your first year, you will do a training course around recording, but just always bear in mind that one day the child could read these records. And I think if you just keep that in your mind, it will really guide you when you are writing your records. How would a child feel if they read this? Okay, so just bear that in mind. Working with social workers and other professionals. So as an applicant for fostering at the moment, you might have encountered Denise Sammy O'Donnell coming to do an initial visit, and some of you may have started your assessment with an assessing social worker. Once you are approved and you have been to panel, all manner of different professionals will enter your life, and I'm going to talk about some of those later. And we expect that you work with them. As a foster carer, your work base is your home, so a lot of these people will need to come into your home. You may need to come to offices, but you are expected to work with them as part of a team. Working with family. So the child's family, every child's situation is different and it will look very different for all of you, but you are expected to work with that child's family in however that looks like for that child. Contribute to contact. So children will see their families. Most of our children will have some sort of communication or face-to-face contact with their families, and you will have a role in that, be that supervising it yourselves or preparing children and supporting children or helping them to write letters, but you will have a role in that. And working with plans. So we've already talked about the different kinds of plans that you may encounter for your children, and we expect as foster carers that you are part of that plan. You should be part of the planning and kept up to date and informed at all times, and that you work with those plans. It's important that you understand plans and understand what support children need with those plans as well. So what you will see here is two lists, and on the course, usually when people are feeding back to me from this activity, I'm writing things down and I split them into two lists. This list here, you may have noticed, is what any child needs and what any adult would do for any child. So there's a lot of stuff that's the same. But here, what we've got here is a list that's not what any parent would do. This is what comes with being a foster carer. So, you know, years and years and years and years and years ago, back in the day, there was this feeling that fostering was just looking after children. And certainly a long, long time ago, children would just be brought and you would be left to it. It's certainly not like that anymore. The local authority has a duty to protect and safeguard these children, and so all this kit and caboodle comes along with being a foster carer. Being a foster carer is very challenging, very important, and this stuff is just as important as this stuff. Okay, I'm going to push my little thing over there. So fostering is about working with children, families and other professionals, which we've talked about. Keeping records, meetings, plans for children we've talked about. And you are also, as a foster carer, you are entitled to practical and emotional support. So when you become a foster carer, you will be assigned a fostering social worker. So all children will have their own social worker, but you as a foster carer will have a social worker for you and your household. So this is the job that I did before I came here. And my job was to make sure that everybody's welfare was promoted. So you, the foster carer, if you've got your own children in the home, if you've got your own children who maybe don't live at home but are a key role in your lives, as a fostering team, we need to make sure that everybody in your team is okay. Our paramount concern is the safety and welfare of the child, but we need to make sure that everyone's okay and has what they need to be able to do this. Also, part of the fostering social worker's role might be to challenge you at times if they feel that maybe you need some extra support or some extra guidance or maybe some extra training. Please don't be offended. We need you to be reflective and able to put your hands up and say, I got that wrong, I'm struggling with this, I maybe can't do this as well as I'd hoped I could, can I have some support? That's not a bad thing, it's a real positive, and the fostering team are there to help you and to guide you through that. It's a really challenging, like I said, being a foster carer is really challenging, and at times through pre-approval training I think it could maybe feel like I might be trying to put you off. But it's important that this training prepares you. So we have to give it to you warts and all. But what I would say to you is, generally when I run this course, I have teams of volunteers who are existing foster carers who come because they want to spread the message that this is a good thing to do. And I have so many foster carers who've been through really difficult times. What they will say to you is, there's nothing that's going to put me off. Nothing. The foster carers out there will, all of our foster carers who are still doing it will say to you, the good times outweigh the bad. The positive difference that you can make to these children's lives is really, really amazing. You are a core part of the team, so like I said, you are a core part of the team. Please don't ever feel that you are just a foster carer or not a crucial part of this team, because you really, really are so important to this team around the child. Like I've said, you're caring for a child in a family setting, and you're helping children to keep safe, but also helping children to realise their full potential. So for a lot of our children, up until now, they've spent their lives just trying to stay safe, just taking one day at a time. And a lot of our children can't look to the future, have never considered what the future might hold, what they're able to do. For you guys, you will see in them that what they're capable of, and you can help them to get there, you can support them. And that is so important, and it is really amazing when we're able to do that for our children.